Guillermo del Toro is a filmmaker who never simply tells a story. He builds entire worlds where beauty and horror, innocence and cruelty, the real and the fantastical coexist in delicate balance. And for today's video, I choose 3 of his most striking works. Pan's Labyrinth is often regarded as del Toro's masterpiece, and it certainly set the tone for much of his later work. Set against the brutality of the Spanish Civil War, the film follows young Ophelia as she discovers a mythical labyrinth and a faun who offers her a chance to prove herself as a lost princess of the underworld. The story moves between the real world's cruelty, embodied by Captain Vidal's fascist violence, and the fantastical trials Ophelia must complete. What makes the film unforgettable is how it blurs the line between reality and fantasy. Are the magical creatures real, or are they Ophelia's way of processing the horrors around her? With unforgettable imagery, the pale man's haunting banquet, the faun's earthy presence, and the heartbreaking ending, Pan's Labyrinth cemented del Toro's place as a visionary, unafraid to explore darkness through the eyes of innocence. Where Pan's Labyrinth feels like a dark fairy tale, Crimson Peak embraces the traditions of Gothic romance. The film follows Edith Cushing, a young American writer who falls in love with the mysterious Thomas Sharp and moves with him to Allerdale Hall, a decaying mansion in rural England. The house itself becomes a living, breathing character, walls that bleed red clay, hallways haunted by apparitions, and a constant sense of something rotting beneath the surface. The love triangle between Edith, Thomas, and his domineering sister Lucille is both tragic and terrifying. The film's artistry lies not just in its visual splendor, stained glass, flickering candles, snow falling through the roof, but in the way it captures the essence of Gothic romance, beauty entwined with decay, love interwoven with death. Crimson Peak feels like walking into a painting where every detail, every color, every shadow tells a story. It's haunting, yes, but also achingly beautiful. Finally, The Shape of Water brings del Toro's lifelong fascination with monsters full circle, presenting perhaps his most tender and hopeful work. Set in 1960s Baltimore, it tells the story of Elisa, a mute cleaning woman who discovers and falls in love with an amphibian creature imprisoned in a government laboratory. On the surface, it's a love story between woman and monster, but at its core, it's about empathy, communication beyond words, and the courage to embrace what society deems other. What I admire most about this film is how it takes the familiar tropes of the monster movie, creature, captors, the threat of destruction, and flips them into a fable about liberation, intimacy, and acceptance. The visuals are luminous, the score romantic and melancholic, and the message universal. Love can bloom even in the harshest, most unlikely places.
And so, looking back at these 3 films, Pan's Labyrinth 2006, Crimson Peak 2015, and The Shape of Water 2017, I enjoyed watching each of them, especially Crimson Peak. Its gothic beauty, haunted atmosphere, and tragic love story remain unmatched for me. Recently, I also watched Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, and to be honest, it didn't impress me at all. Most of the episodes felt like a lackluster remix of old stories, like, for instance, Pigman's Model. I already seen that format much better in the classic television series Night Gallery, I'm sure you remember. Anyway, compared to the richness and originality of del Toro's films, the anthology felt kind of disappointing and uninspired. But that's just my perspective. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 3 films is your favorite? And what did you think of Cabinet of Curiosities if you got to see it? Do you agree with me, or did it work better for you? Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak are streaming on Tubi right now. Please stay tuned for my next video. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.